And I'm going to talk about prospecting and the idea behind prospecting. We're going to go maybe to a little bit of scripts. Justin talked about that, and I appreciate the fact that his point was he doesn't use scripts. I think what we all really need is a couple things, but then the idea of what to say. So when you work with a new agent, they're brand new, they have no idea what to say, right? Well, that helps with scripts and kind of practicing those. If you guys don't do role play regularly, you are missing out. Role play should be a part of your weekly activity, if not daily. There's no excuse for it. Find somebody to role play with you. Role play with your dog. My dog is tired of hearing about real estate and how I can get them to buy a home. Anybody can help you in role play. But the goal of having a conversation with somebody is to, of course, sell their house. But whenever you're prospecting, the goal is to try and get an appointment. That's really what we're trying to do. Now, the appointment can be a few things. It can be a buyer consultation. It can be, of course, showing them a home, getting them to a lender, or a kind of a weaker one would be a follow-up. And if you don't get one of those things, then we're trying to just gather information, because most people don't buy a house on the first call. When you first call them, they don't say, yeah, I want to buy a house right away. It takes a little bit of time. So if you don't get one of those first appointments, that's fine. Just get information from that prospect. And what you're really trying to do is build rapport. So I'm going to give you guys the top 10 list of prospecting things that you need to know and skills that if you can just think of these top 10 things, you will be a better prospector and a better agent on the phone. So my first thing that you need to do is to just be curious. You absolutely, when you're on the phone with anybody, now this is actually even on the phone or meeting them in person or any other area, you have to be curious about what it is that these people are, what they like, who they like, what they don't like. So all those questions that you're going to be answering or asking is all about, how are you guys doing? What do you guys think of this? I'm an Arizona State Sun Devil guy. You can see my helmet behind me. If they like U of A, which is our arch rival, we're going to have a conversation about that. I want to be curious about what it is that they like. So don't be too intimidated about asking questions. The other thing, and this has been touched on already today, is you've got to be diligent and you got to be dedicated. You have to have consistency when it comes to your outbound calls and your time that you're going to actually prospect. If you're the person that haphazardly thinks maybe I'm going to go out and make a few phone calls today, the chances of you actually making them are ridiculously slim. And I can guarantee you the people that are on this call have a schedule. Now, Justin talked about his. I know the rest of the guys here that have spoken, and they all have schedules. Mine starts actually at 4:45 in the morning, and I'm booked out until 11 o'clock every day. I have a set schedule. And if it deviates from that, it actually makes me upset because I like my schedule and I get more done in the mornings than most people do in the day because it's a set schedule. And no, it didn't start easy. I didn't always wake up at 4:45. I just kind of backed it up as I wanted to do more in my life. And once you have that, it creates a habit and it's super easy. I don't even think about it anymore. My alarm actually goes off, but I'm usually up before it does at 4:45 just because it's a habit. And that will set you up to go, hey, at 9 o'clock, 8:30, whatever time it is, you're going to make your hour prospecting calls. It's already done. You just know every day you're going to do it. So just do it. Make no excuses about it. So the third thing is when you're talking to somebody, find commonality. Find something that you guys have similar, because ultimately you want to build the rapport. And if you can find some commonality, like going back to the ASU thing, if somebody is a Sun Devil, hey, when did you go to school? What'd you study there? Oh, really? I'm a political science major. That's why I sell real estate. Talk about something that you guys have in common, whether sports is really easy for me or where somebody lived. I've traveled around quite a bit. So if they're from, let's say, Washington, I have some commonality with that. And I want to know where they're from. And then I'd be curious about where they're from. What did they do while they're in Washington? Why are they wanting to come to Arizona? Ask those questions, and man, you build up great rapport, and you're just having a conversation with another human being. Because at the end of the day, I think we're mostly talking to human beings on the other side that have problems and joys and loves that they want to and goals that they want to accomplish too. Just find out more about them. Whether it's about real estate or not, you always kind of want to get it back to real estate because that's what we eventually do. And the other thing, real simple on that, is listen for clues. Did you hear a dog barking in the background? Did you hear a baby crying in the background? Is something really exploding in the background? Did it sound like they just got in a car wreck? Those are little clues that you can lean into, ask about. Because if it's a straightforward, no, I was just looking, and then there's a dog barking in the background, and you say, oh, you were just looking, okay, then that's a more difficult path to go on and try to build rapport, because now you have to ask about real estate versus, oh, I hear a dog in the background. Is that yours? Oh, what kind of dog is it? Oh, did you get him? Is that like a purebred? Or did you get him from the pound? Is your dog like my dog and they basically are our family and they run everything? Those conversations are great to have. And these people, they just love it because they want to talk about, obviously, what they want to talk about. So don't be nervous about hearing something in the background and talking about it. Guess what? They heard it too. So it's not a mystery that a dog was barking in the background. Go ahead and ask them about that. Next thing is you need to find their motivation. You got to find their pain point. Even if somebody says, I'm just looking for a bigger house. Do you know most people move because of a pain, not because they won the lottery and they want a bigger house? It's because obviously they're having kids or they got parents moving in or something like that. That's going to cause them pain or discomfort. And so they want to get out of that discomfort. Most people are way more motivated by the stick than they are the carrot. So whatever the stick is, it's beating them into a new place to live. You got to find that motivation. If there is no motivation, that's a tough buyer or a tough seller if they're really not motivated. But digging deep, I don't know about you, but I didn't go look for, an RV today because I'm not looking to buy one. But if somebody's looking for an RV, they have probably some sort of motivation to go buy one, even if it's distant or not. There's a motivation for these people to make the inquiry. And buying a house is tough. Is convenient as it can be made, it is still difficult in today's world. So you want to make sure that you find out what that inconvenience is for them, and now you can hone your conversation to that because you're the solution to their problem. They just don't know it yet. Next, that was number 5. Number 6, have energy. It's showtime. They don't care that you're sick. By the way, I have food poisoning right now. I'm not even joking. It's been the worst 2 days ever. I hope you guys would have never known that I was really in a bad shape here earlier today and all of the last 2 days. But the reality is, it's showtime. Nobody cares if you are sick, if anything is bad, if you have a cold, nobody cares. Let me repeat that. Nobody cares. Your spouse is inconvenienced by you being sick, but they don't care. As much as my wife loves me, and she's been great in this time. But when you go on or you're making a phone call to somebody and you're feeling bad and you're lethargic, they don't care. Literally, I want you to slap your hands before you start making phone calls and go, showtime. All right? It really is the time for you to put up the energy and move on from it. Now, on that note, if you can't fake energy and you're a monotone speaker, like you're somebody that is very calm. We have, I'm thinking of Nick McLean right now, very tonality, I won't say monotone with Nick, but he's just a very calm speaker. If you're that type of person, your words need to be that much better than the person that has energy. Because if you are a monotone speaker and don't know what to say, nobody's going to listen to you. It is extremely hard to get past monotone and a bad speaker doesn't know what to say. So if you are a calm speaker, you have to practice more. You have to practice what it is that you're going to say. We had an ISA once on my team, super energetic. She had no idea what she was doing, but she was so energetic that she was just endearing to people, and she would get appointments because she just had so much energy. It was that bubbly character that was just fun. Everybody loves this gal. But she didn't know what to say, but she was good because of her energy. Remember, the opposite if you're a monotone speaker. So anybody that is very calm, you've got to practice more than the energy people. Sorry, it's just your burden that you've got to carry. All right, next, number 7. You are the guide of the story, not the hero. If you guys have never heard of this before, I know there's a book that talks about this, and I cannot remember what it is. But we as the real estate agents oftentimes want to be the hero because we're going to go find the house and we're going to make it all happen for them. We're the hero. If you take that mentality, that client will not feel special. They're going to think it's all about you, when the reality is it's all about them. And when you say, I think, I believe, this is actually my number 9 thing. I'm going to jump ahead. The what you think, it makes it about you and not about them. You have to make it about them every single time. They don't care about you, remember? If you were sick and dying, they don't care. They want to buy a house. And you have to have that mentality every single time you're talking to somebody. And to piggyback a little bit, that they don't care, they don't want you to think. When you're making an outbound call to somebody that doesn't know you, and I hear this a lot, and I critique my team on this a lot. They've gotten a lot better with this, but they know it's a pet peeve of mine. Hey, I think that you should talk to a lender. Why? What authority do you have to tell somebody that doesn't know you what you think? I've sold thousands of houses, been doing this for 20 plus years, top 1% in the nation. And if I tell somebody what they think, guess what they think? Who are you? All right. They don't care, because you have to build the authority before you can give them your opinion. So you have to word your questions around the fact that, hey, most people get their talk to a lender first before they go look at houses, which is different than, I think you should talk to a lender before you go look at houses. It's just a little word game. Just tweak that just a little bit. Other question that is number, we'll call it number 9. We'll say that don't care what you think. People don't care what you think or about what you believe yet. So we're going to say number 9, ask open-ended questions. This is pretty straightforward, and I think everybody has heard this before, but I hear a lot of people make statements that they intend it to be a question. And yes, that's very American. We'll say a lot of things that are statements, expecting somebody to answer. But when you're driving the conversation, it's about whoever asks the questions is in charge, is leading the conversation. So we want to be that person that asks the questions. By making a statement, is it really a question? Are you giving up control at that point? If you expect them to answer a question, ask a question and make that question open-ended so that we can go back to building that rapport. And if you're genuinely curious, which was the number 1 thing about somebody, you're going to think about questions that you might want to know about them. The last thing, and this is hard for a lot of people, and this is the thing I think that gets people having a really hard time making phone calls. Guys, don't take it personal. If somebody hangs up the phone on you, yells at you, calls you a bad name, calls you a U of A person, that's a bad name in our world. If they do that, it's because you happen to have called them, but it's not about you. You're just happen to be the person that called them. It's not you. They don't know you. So you have to not take it personal if somebody hangs up on you. The reality is, I can assure you, I'm a super nice guy, but on my bad days, I'm not a nice guy. I think that goes with most people. If you catch somebody on their worst part of their life, you're going to think that person's a total jerk. You might have just caught them in a bad day. They could have just spilled coffee on themselves and you made the phone call and they're not happy to be talking to you. You don't know. And I know of my experience of making literally tens of thousands of phone calls. I have called somebody one day, they've hung up. I call them the next day or the day after that, have a great conversation. I just called them at the wrong time. And remember, you're inconveniencing them. They don't know you're calling. Oftentimes they put their name in, get bombarded with people calling them. They had no idea it was going to happen, and you're just one of them. So don't take it personal. It's okay. And last thing's a little bonus here. John Cheplak, we already mentioned him. I think Justin did earlier. I stole this from yesterday because I thought it was so good from a meeting we had yesterday. Find something they love to talk about. You're going to find something they love to talk about if you find commonality and you're curious right off the bat. If you're curious, you're going to find something they love to talk about. It might be their cat, their dog, their kids, their work, sports teams, whatever. But man, imagine if you're finding something that they love to talk about, how much better a conversation starter could be to do that. And because you want to have length of conversation, the longer conversations you have, you tend to have more rapport, which gives you more opportunity to be their agent. That's what it's about. That's what I have to go off right now. If anybody has any questions, I'm trying to cut mine a little bit short because I know we had some delays and we want to keep on the time. If I do have some scripts that I can throw out there a little bit if you guys want that, or if you had any questions.
Yeah, that was wicked. I think that's a lot for people to go off of. If you can drop the top 10 there in the chat, I think people would definitely appreciate that. So if you have any questions for Joe, please put them in there. Well, we're waiting to see if any questions pop up. I just wanted to piggyback off some of the things you said. I know my business partner does these things too. So one of the ones that sparked my memory was the sports rivalry you mentioned there. We're hockey country over here. So Edmonton Oilers, Calgary Flames, we're a 3-hour drive apart. It's, you're either blue or red over here on that side of things. So he likes to do is anybody who is a Calgary fan of his, one of his like past client touch points is whenever there's a game, especially if the Oilers win, he calls them and razzes his past clients pretty hard on that. So like that, I think that's something that just brought it up, just reminded me. So that's something you could take away as like a very personable SOI past client touch. And then the other one with the energy on your points there, like he, again, my business partner, he can't sit and make calls because he doesn't bring it. So like he stands, and if he's not standing, he's walking and talking. He can't not walk and talk, but he brings it when he's on the phone. So maybe something.
I have standing desks in our office. I'm currently at home right now. We have standing desks everywhere. They'll go up and down, hit a button. I'm standing right now. I can't, like, having a standing desk is an absolute game changer that anybody that wants to be consistent on the phone, you can walk around, you can move, like I'm going back and forth. It just adds to that energy. And as soon as the Dallas Cowboys lost, I texted about 12 people different Dallas Cowboy crying memes. Exactly. Now, I'm in Arizona, but if you're either a fan of the Cowboys or you absolutely hate them. And so it's very good to just send off, some of those type of things. And it's lighthearted and it's fun. And anybody that's a true sports fan appreciates that kind of banter. And if you guys aren't sports fans, find something else. Sports just happens to be the easiest thing because any sports fan wants to cheer for their team and they want to hate their, rivalry. And it's just an easy conversation to have. But anything that you can think of that somebody might like that they did really well on, I don't know if they're, like the orchestra or something, you can say, hey, the orchestra is coming into town. Are you going? Something like that. But sports is way the easiest thing.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great one to get some good conversations going. All right. It looks like everyone's just giving you the praises and the thank yous. The one question was just to post that top 10 if you could when you're off here. And yeah, we had someone say that memes are also so good. Yeah, all those types of small lighthearted touches.
Absolutely.
Joe, again.
And just last thing to say, I'm going to put that top 10 thing. You're at the end of it, and I teach my team this, you're just having a conversation with another person, right? They have fears, they have desires and goals, apprehensions. Just know that you're talking to somebody on the other side. We call them leads, we call them prospects, we call them buyers and sellers, but they're just people. And if you were having a conversation with somebody just in front of you, how would you have a conversation? Just literally ask questions, get to know the people, be freaking curious about them. The rest of it is actually pretty easy once you're just doing those things. Now, to get to the next level of prospecting, you need to have some arrows in your quiver on what to say. Like you need to have an opening line It's Joe Bourland, Bourland Real Estate Team. I'm following up on your inquiry from a while back. Did you ever purchase a home? Okay. I literally have said that thousands and thousands and thousands of times. I don't even think about it anymore. And from there, what's the follow-up? It's going to be, no, I didn't buy. Yes, I already bought. And then once they bought, I hear a lot of people say, oh, their demeanor goes down because the person already bought. Guys, if they already bought, okay. We have a thing called HomeBot. I don't know if you guys have that in your area that's going to send them market valuations every month. I get excited and say, oh, fantastic. Where'd you end up buying? Then there maybe is an opportunity when they go to sell that we could be their agents. I hook them up with HomeLight and it's all win. It's always exciting. It's always good news. Everything's always good news.